it all works out in the end. See if anybody, please, okay, all right. But secondly, we were also told because of modern medicine we're going to live forever. I mean, I had the polio vaccine, smallpox vaccine, all this stuff. I still got the little scars and everything here. But we were told we're going to live forever. When somebody tells you you're going to live forever, what do you stop worrying about? Your health. They didn't tell us about Alzheimer's. They didn't tell us about bad knees and bad hips. They didn't tell us about all these other things that can happen to you as you get older, right? They also told us that Social Security was going to take care of us. Now that kind of went south, in the first to the mid-'80s. That was when they introduced the opportunity to do tax-deferred contributions to a 401k type plan because we realized this ain't going to work. And I got to stand there and talk to my son and say, I'm sorry, I'm going to spend it all before you. And then lastly, we were told this, that the more education you got, the better off you're going to be, right? And that lived and worked through the 60s and the 70s, and in the 80s and the mid-'80s or whatever. It probably got to the late 80s, early 90s, and then it started falling apart. Okay? So, demographics, greatest generation. These are the folks that fought the Second World War, 1901 to 1926. Now, you go and look up any of these generations, you're going to see fuzz on either side of the dates and stuff, right? So, this is just ones that I'm using. The silent generation, which was my parents' generation, 27 to 45. Boomer generation is 46 to 64. And actually, there's a Boomer A and a Boomer B. Boomer A was born between 46 and 50, and Boomer B was born between 54 and 64. And it was all the birth rate goes like this in 46, 47, 48. Goes like this because of the Korean conflict. It levels out for a couple of years, and then it goes straight through the roof. Boomer B is twice the size of Boomer A. And we've just completely escorted Boomer A out of the marketplace. Okay? Boomer B is going to make Boomer A look like a walk in the park as they come through. The Gen Y, or Gen X, is 65 to 80. Okay? We got a few of them in here. Right? Gen Y, which is commonly referred to as the millennials, are 81 to 94. Gen Z is 95 to 2010. And the demographers are turning around and they go right back up at the top. It's called now Generation Alpha. Okay? It's 2010 and they're still being born. They'll be born in 2010, probably in 2024, somewhere in that range. But these, when I talk generationally, these are the things I'm talking about. Okay, what's leaving our operational base? The Boomer generation before the millennial was the largest at-work demographic right now. We were also the most sophisticated collectors. Our dream of building a house was going to stuff it full of stuff. Okay? And we're going to have a garage, and we're the generation that created the need for storage units, real storage units. Okay?
And the two-car garage.
But we are very sophisticated. We created the market for Antiques Roadshow. We're the most loyal as a rule. And I know people right there, my mom and dad between them had 67 years working for General Electric. General Electric, Jack Welch decided the business they're in, something he didn't want to be in, gave him a golden handshake, and that was in '86. They have not touched that package for my mom and dad. All right, my dad's passed away, but my mom's still sitting there. She's drawing a full pension with all the benefits and everything. They have not touched a thing in there. And not too many of the big employers around the country can say that. And then we were the first generation not to replace itself. My mom came from a family of 6, my dad came from a family of 9. The Boomer generation average children per household was 1.7. Okay? So what we're doing is we're not replacing ourselves as far as communities are concerned, but also as far as workforce is concerned. Okay? The Generation X that follows Boomers is estimates anywhere from 11 to 15% smaller than the Boomer generation. And they're the ones, they're smiling going to work every day, all right? They're the ones that are in the marketplace in more senior positions right now, and they're loving it, right? Because there's not any competition, okay? You know, the millennials are going to have something to say about that soon enough, but the Gen X are the ones that are, Gen X are the ones that y'all left in charge when you came to this meeting this morning. Okay? And as it turns out, we're the least prepared to go. So far, my mom and dad, they had retirement planned down to the penny. Okay? My grandmother's motto: if you owe anybody anything, it's a sin. All right? So she never borrowed any money. You know, she'd work herself silly trying to balance the checkbook. You know, that was everything. And we also were the first definers of diversity in the workplace. I think that's one of the hallmarks of the boomer generation. Okay. The boomers, and I still see this in the reaction. You walk into any service club, Rotary Club, Optimist Club, Sermatoma Club, you look around the room, what do you see, Ann?
Mostly men.
Mostly men, and how old are they?
They're old.
The Civil Rights Act was passed in 1964, and the Rotary International adopted women in Rotary in 1989. It only took them 25 years but that's not, the definitional difference here is the boomer generation looks to find diversity because we've been trained. You know, we integrated high schools when I was in high school. You know, over here was part of the expression. Over here was the colored high school, and over here was the white high school. We merged in 1967. Today, we still look for that. The millennial generation reacts when they don't see it. Okay, and that's one thing that we as boomers need to remember, and you as trainers need to remember. Anytime you've got a publication, anytime you're printing a picture, anytime you're doing anything for your company, if you're after the millennial generation, you better have diversity in that picture. Okay, and I mean a wide diversity in that picture, or they're going to look right past it. Okay, what's arriving? Generation X, Generation Y, and I've got Z and Alpha here. Generation X, they embrace diversity. They don't know anything else. They're entrepreneurial, or they'd like to be. But they're finding out these steady paychecks that they can get right now, and these ever-increasing job responsibilities, promotions, they like that. Okay? But many of them will opt out before it's all over with, and will start, you know, instead of waiting until they retire, they'll opt out in the 50s, 50, 55 range and start their own business. They are extrinsically driven. This organization, this group responds to the dollar. They respond to a promotional raise. They will move for that. Okay? They're highly skeptical. They have seen us lose our leverage in the marketplace. They've seen us become rattled by the changes. They're highly skeptical of anything a doctor will say, anything a lawyer will say, anything a politician will say. You know, they don't accept no first word anybody. Okay? And here again, this generation is the first to start showing. They're waiting later to start families. Now, Generation Y, the millennials, here again, they're the largest since the boomers. All right? And they have outdistanced the boomers by probably 15, 20 million. Okay? They're very sophisticated consumers. They don't, I don't think they spend more than $5 on anything unless they Google it first. Okay? And they priced it out. Yes, ma'am.
And so, Tom, what's being predicted now is by 2025, I think you're going to lose something like 15, about a quarter of malls. Because they don't shop in. My son is 16 and he will not purchase anything in the store. He doesn't go mall. He does the eBay and all this stuff, so he buys it.
He's looking for a deal.
I thought he was my mom.
And actually, I wouldn't by not having that kind of employee on my payroll. I mean, he's looking for the right way to spend his money, spend my money. Yes, ma'am.
And on that account, I also have heard that schools will eventually become a pastime. That they'll have an activity center that'll be available for students in a region where they can do their football, basketball, soccer, whatever. But the schools will all either be online or in home.
That's right. Now, you know, there's an even deeper aspect to that that's going to come up here in just a second, right? They are technologically advanced. Yes, ma'am.
On Betty's note, I've heard that the malls are being closed and they're either making senior communities out of it, which is very interesting, or universities are going into the malls because there's a structure that just.
Or if you go over to the intersection of Old Bush River Road and St. Andrews Road and turn that store there into a storage center for us. And it's all air conditioned, man. They're more technologically advanced, and here going along with being very sophisticated soon, they have no brand loyalty. Okay? Right, so if you can launch a brand and get their attention for 60 days, you'll make your money, and then they wander off somewhere else. Okay? And here again, most all of them were raised in either dual income or single parent homes. So they're used to fending for themselves. Okay? Whether we like what they do when they're fending for themselves is not under discussion. But they are used to being alone and used to making some of their own decisions. Okay? These were latchkey kids. Remember that term? Latchkey kids. So mom and dad both were at work. Yes, sir.
Another thing I'm hearing about millennials, whereas a lot of folks, we were, particularly from like the situation, we wanted things free, whereas millennials are willing, you know, we want the app that's free, we want the free checking, we want everything free. Millennials are willing to pay if it gives them a specific service or a specific benefit. And millennials are, and so while they don't have brand loyalty, if there is a coffee shop that is doing something that is environmentally friendly, they will go in and pay 20% more because of that social responsibility.
Well, a little of that led back into Gen X also, because they're the ones that made all these coffee and made Starbucks come into being. And our age group is business travelers, you know, spread the mantra of Starbucks, you know, for coffee in airports and everything else. And it's a great point. And as you look at this is not a compendium list. This is just a list to get you started thinking, you know, as you look at these things. Generation Z, referred to as the globals, because their view of the world is not centric to their community. They're being taught, they're being trained through education, global, you know, figures are part of the global population. They're going to be the best educated. They'll have an average of 16 years of education. Boomer generation average 9 years of education. Volunteering is a lifestyle. Okay? You want to get them engaged. You know, they're not going to be appealing. A Rotary Club is not going to be appealing to this group because, you know, Rotary Club, you pay your money and somebody else does the work. Right? They want to touch what they're doing. And that volunteerism and touching, critical to remember as far as a motivational key to this work, to this age range. They're experts in living with economic uncertainty. They've never known a period of extended, across-the-board, highly successful economic growth. Okay? We've had economic growth, but it's not been across the board. You know, what we're experiencing right now, many of you refer to is broadening the gap between the haves and the have-nots. And socially, that's going to become a major problem probably within the next 10 years. Their reward system is extrinsic. I want to get something from it while I'm doing it, right? They're data and information experts. They know how to use the data. They know how to mine the data. They know where to go look for the data. And work for them is a means to an end. Don't stand in front of the door at 5 o'clock. Because they're off to their primary objective, which is to do what their salary is affording them to do. Okay? And that's a major change. What's arriving in Alpha? Now we start by the Homelanders. Alpha actually is kind of appealing to me. Right? What they got going on. They're entrepreneurial because they have to be. By the time these kids hit the marketplace, the job activities we got going on right now, that's gone. businesses are not gonna sit still for 15 years on a scarce resource like labor. They'll figure out that they need to buy it to whatever the market wants, or they need to eliminate the need for it. And there's a whole new technology of sensors that are coming out that's gonna make technology embodied. Wearables are already there. Embedded technology is just around the corner. But the USA is no longer the center of the world economy. This is what they're growing up with. They're experts in living with that global uncertainty. Their reward system may be broad-based. Okay? These are going to be the owners of what's called the gig economy. Right? G-I-G. I've got a work gig going on. I've got a job for the next 3 weeks working here, and then I'm done, and I'm going to get me another gig somewhere. It's anticipated that by 2020, 42% of the jobs in the United States market will be gig economy based. And if you're in the right place at the right time, you can make a bunch of money. Or you can be desperate, destitute, unemployed, depending on what you want to do. Technology, here's to come back to this point. Technology is not a tool, it's kinesthetic. It's embedded. Okay? It's embedded. I'm not going to be wearing earphones, I'm going to have implanted earphones that are Bluetooth. You know, I can wear them in the shower, I can wear them while I'm working out, I can do what I want to, but that's my communication model. I'll have a really small version of this on my hip or in my pocket that connects me to the world, but I'm going to be dialing phone numbers just by speaking. Instead of walking around like this, you stand out here in the hallway during class changes. They've already got the onboard capability to not run into each other. Right? But this will be, they won't even have this. You'll be watching a society that's walking down the street and having a conversation with itself.
That's right now.
It will be a lot of fun. It will be a lot of fun.
I think medicine will change because half of them won't be able to see because of the small screen and now all that blue light, whatever. They can't hear because of all the earbud stuff on. I think medicine will change a lot.
But these kids are going to be transformative by nature, right? And actually, I put it here in parentheses, they may make really good employees on that basis because these attributes here make them kind of people you like to have. Okay? They're transformative thinking. There are no walls. We can tear this down, we can build it back up, do it all over again, and we can work with this. Okay? Now, for our operations, this change in speed, or the speed of change, can speed of learning keep up with it? This is a question for you guys. Right? What are you doing right now that you can do that can increase the ability of an individual to gain knowledge at the speed with which they're going to have to gain the knowledge to manage the change that's going to be going on around them? And secondly, technology is a bodily embedded tool. This is what we just talked about. That's, you know, all I'll do is peel in the corner. I want you thinking about that when you leave today. Motivational models. How do you motivate people today? Can you motivate? By my definition, motivation is from within. Okay, you can't impose motivation on me. I have to become motivated internally. Well, what's going to trigger that? What's going to trigger that? You know, you don't have this device. You know, you're my trainer, and you're Bobby. George, right? George, you're my trainer. I'm not connected to you. I'm not going to carry on a conversation with you. Okay? How am I going to stay in touch with you unless you choose to communicate with me where I am? And why do I want to listen to you to promote me? Are you motivational leaders? Are you trainers? What is it you're going to do differently to manage this laser-focused, individualized, and it's going to be it's not just alphas, it's Gen Y, Z, and A. Everything's focused. Everything's focused. You will find them, you will sell them something, you have to find them. From a training standpoint, you have to find where they want to learn and teach them at that level. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
But where do we start going back with all this stuff? Let's talk about relationships, which is big for our generation. How do we start teach? I think it's our job to teach them how to do the relationship bit also. They've got all the tools, but how do we have a conversation so that we you know that we're all on the same track.
It's tricky. And if I had a solution to that, I'd be out selling it, right? Okay. But here again, it's all involved in this, what we refer to as whirlwind of activities that takes place on a day-to-day basis. The nature of the whirlwind is going to start changing right in front of your eyes. Most of us, that the speed of that change has been something that we kind of pull along, change in the organization. Now change is going to pull us. And it's going to be difficult to make the transition. And how do you sustain and scale? And this, if you've got some things that are changing so rapidly that you worry about the quality and the efficacy of the learning process, how do you scale it? You know, is it one-to-one employee trainer? Is it technology that is individually driven, that you access? All of these things need answers. And you as a group, with Association of Talent Development, you're sitting in the pilot seat. There's a lot here that you can bring to the table that everybody else that you work with can learn from. All right, implications. All right, and this is where I'm going to throw stuff out at you. All right, what's going to be the new normal in learning? I think you were getting at it.
Mobility.
Mobility, right? I can't sit still to learn, right? These new generations, they won't sit still for an hour and a half in a facilitator or instructor-led environment. They don't learn that way. They're not interested in that. What's the impact on the learning model? That 70-20-10 model that I showed you earlier. What's going to have to change within that model to be successful as trainers and talent developers? I don't have a budget for this. What if I go back to my boss and say, I need $1 million budget next year, and you find yourself looking for a new career. And then the new person comes in and says, yeah, we need $1 million budget. Okay, all right, here we go. But I said that first, but you don't get credit for it, right? Because how do you budget for the learning technology, the learning capabilities that you're going to need to capture the speed as fast as it's going to be changing? Right now, one of the things that plays out for Midlands Technical College, when we're going to put a course in the course offering, we look out, and pardon the expression, we call it butts and seats. How many butts and seats will you have for the next 3 years in this technology? And what do you want to prove? The problem is, technology can be ideated, developed, deployed, and become extinct inside of 3 years. Right? So our planning model has got to change as we address technologies that could be a part of our future. And lastly, what impact does it have on attracting and retaining people that you have to do differently? Okay, here we come. Perilous Prognostications, and I'm finished. Right? So first of all, ownership of learning will move to the learner. I think we talked about that a little bit. All right. Now here again, I am not capable, not smart enough to have an original idea. So I'm just gleaning stuff from what I read and what I hear from other folks. But this is a major shift. We saw this start happening with the vagaries in the late 80s, 90s, and then before 2000 in the corporate world, because they decided they couldn't afford. So if who's doing your career plan? You are. Right? And you say, well, I want to be this. You might be talking to yourself, okay? But you go to your boss and say, in order for me to hit my career plan, I need to go to this course, and you work out a way to do it. So the ownership of learning is going to move to the learner. There'll be 4 to 5 generations at work. The last of the boomers turned 70 in 2033. That's 16 years from now. Within that 16 years, the Generation Z is in the marketplace. You're going to have boomers, X, Y, Z, and some of the alphas are going to be there. What a communications nightmare. And I'll come back to
The
that.
boomers will be deaf, so they won't worry.
And it's going to be the successful organization is going to figure out how to make that work, because innovation is going to occur in those intergenerational, those multi-generational teams. So somebody's got to be able to communicate in fashion to the receiver. And lastly, burnout is going to be built into a career. People are going to burn out. They're going to come to you and say, I need to take a year off, okay? Or does your personnel policies allow somebody to take what in higher education we call a sabbatical, okay? But this is going to be built in, these generations are going to come up to you and say, you want me as an employee for the next 10 years, I got to take some time off. I got to go get my wife pregnant. I got to go do something. I got to get out of here for a year. I need brain disease.
I'm just curious, going back up to the top one, where it says ownership of learning will move to a learner. It's very interesting because those of you who are familiar with Maria Montessori, one of the things that one of her biggest guides was follow the child. And the child will teach you how to teach them. And so it's very interesting that even though we're really starting to hear about this, it really developed a long time ago with her theories and the way she taught. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting.
That's great. Yep, thank you. Thank you. I'd like to get the source for that, because like I said, I just picked it up somewhere, you know, in my conversation. But when you look at this, and you look at how things are going to happen, this is kind of exciting. I mean, you have to choose to be excited by it.
That's what I'm
Right?
I know that there's at least one practice right now in an organization that is trying to combat this or burnout built into the career, in which they have instituted quite happily a 2-hour break during the day in which nap time is required. So they are building in
Can I
rest.
get that address?
They are building in rest. I mean, you can go have lunch and do your shopping, whatever, but for an hour, those folks are really.
Yeah.
We've had that forever. We have a faculty lounge. All right. Now, okay, those were perilous prognostications. These are swags. Everybody knows what a swag is? Yes. These get way out there, all right? HRM will become a strategic player in human resource management. It's going to go out tactically. When I was a plant manager, we needed to hire 6 people. I turned around the HR department, I said, I need 6 people in 2 weeks. Okay, fine. Today, you want 6 people, you needed to be looking for them 6 months ago. Right, so elevate yourselves to the level of strategic player in the organization. Right? It's coming. In some organizations, it's here already, because they can't be anywhere else. Secondly, forget succession planning. It's going to be a waste of time. You know, somebody said, well, what do you want to do next? Well, it ain't here. But you look at it, if all this stuff, other stuff comes true, this is going to be the last thing somebody's worried about. It's the last thing somebody's worried about. Now, you might want to worry succession planning about your CEO or something, but you know, for the entry-level, mid-level employees, they'll take care of succession planning. Start saving for the turnover. Because, you know, in a turnover, there's cost associated with churn in your workforce, okay? And you need, you know, it's like right now, most businesses will take a piece of the top line, like 1% of sales, and will go towards a warranty account, to pay for warranty costs or anything else. Your organization, somebody needs to be saving a % of revenue and putting in an account, and this is how you pay for turnover costs. I mean, this is how you pay for unanticipated. This is what you dip into in unanticipated recruiting costs. And a smart organization will be setting aside some money for that. And lastly, here comes scalability and sustainability. I don't have an answer yet. I don't think anybody's got an answer yet to this concern. Okay? Disclaimer. The views and opinions shared by your presenter are not to be construed to be those of him. Everybody saw it.
They never would have guessed that.
And secondly, any resemblance between these views and actual occurrences is purely coincidental. And thank you for your time. You're a supervisor, and you've got a work crew.
It's got to be.
It's got 4 people in it, and one's a mover, one's the X, Y, and Z. Okay, and you get a phone rings, and it's your boss, and the boss. You hang up the phone, you go back to work. They're all sitting having coffee, and or fresh squeezed juice or whatever. And you said, okay, guys, team, we got a job to do. We have to paint this wall today. And let's get going. The boomer jumps up. Yes, sir. Starts looking for the ladder and buckets because this is what he's done. He knows how to do this. He's been trained. He's been a painter his whole life. He knows what to do. Off and running. Gen X. Why do you want to paint the wall? Gen Y flips you off. Because they're not ready to do that. And Gen Z picks up this and they Google painting a wall, and they'll tell you everything you need to know about painting a wall without ever having done it. And you walk away from that conversation scratching your head, realizing you've got less than a 1 in 4 chance of that wall getting painted.